Right, let's kick this panel off. Welcome everybody. Thank you for either having a very early lunch or deferring your lunch for half an hour. We've got a fantastic panel for you for the next, I think, what we're doing, half an hour, an hour? How long do your streams normally go on for?
2 hours.
Right, okay, so we may be here some time, so make sure your seats are comfortable.
Maybe 24 hours.
Oh my.
I'm going to come over here because that way I can make sure I've got everybody in the right order so I don't cock it up. I'm delighted to walk away from the speakers. So obviously, as Late Radio, we very much are a podcast medium, so it's all about audio. Obviously, you can see us now. We have faces for radio. We don't have faces for live streaming and cameras if we can possibly avoid it. The people in front of you are a little bit braver than that. They put themselves out there. They put a face to the voice, and they entertain the community with all sorts of shenanigans. Things.
Yes.
Tomfoolery.
So going from left to right, we have the wonderful Ascorbius. Give her a hand. Thank you. We have next to him we have Greytest.
Hello, Liam.
We have Yamiks.
Don't stab me.
We have Jack Lyttle and the Muppet. Sorry, I spent all night digging that one up. And of course we have Natswright as well.
Hello.
So the format for this one, guys, I've got a few prep questions, but hopefully you can help the guys out on the panel with just thinking of some things that you've always wanted to know about the streaming. Streaming is obviously reasonably new. It's a new medium. I think we're all trying to find our way through it. So these guys have got probably found out the hard way how easy it is to stream and manage their streams, and what sort of things you have to give up in your work-life balance and everything else to enjoy doing.
Sorry, we're answering. I thought we were going to be asking you guys questions because we don't know anything. We know nothing. You can do.
But the nice thing is, I think most people in the room don't know anything, so you can always just make it up, and I'm sure they won't know. But so what we'll do is you guys start thinking of some questions. We'll go along the panel, and if you could just give us a 20-second overview of who you are, when you stream, what your channel's called, and what sort of stuff you cover on your stream. That'll be great. Starting with you, Scorpius.
Oh, God. Okay, so I stream irregularly. Apparently that's not what you're supposed to do on Twitch. You're supposed to have a schedule and stick to it. I don't do that. I started out, though, making videos. I do videos on YouTube of the machinima variety. Lots of lip syncing and animations, and try to make people laugh. That's why I stream anyway, try to make people laugh. If I can entertain, that's what I want to do.
All right, Commander Greytest. I'm co-host of the broadcast by Commander Josh Hawkins, so you'll find that stream on his channel every week on YouTube on Saturday. I'm also a rock rat. I really pride myself into doing shenanigans with the SRV and having great fun with friends. And I organized the Enigma expedition, which was last year in January, and that was great. So yeah, that's about what I do.
We are not allowed to swear, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's quite right.
Right, well, then in the technical terms, I make videos. That's about it. Yeah, I guess so.
Are you done? I thought there'd be more.
What more do you want? My blood?
Details. I'm Jack Lyttle. I'm a real boy. As you can see, I stream 3 times a week. I suppose the main thing that we do in game is we've formed a police force using the most fearsome ships in the game, the Sidewinder and the Eagle, and we like to go to often community goal systems or what's it now? Interplanetary initiatives. Something. Interstellar initiatives, that's it. And CGs, yeah. And basically get in the way of gankers. We like to get between gankers and people who are doing trading to sort of tie them up a bit. Or if that's not happening, then we just gank NPCs.
I'm Natswright. I stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and of course, some of you may know Hammers of Slough Sunday, where we do a sort of massive 12-hour stream. It's mostly Elite Dangerous, and of course, we formed the Hammers of Slough group, who basically do everything in the game. Well, we break everything. And our favourite ship is the Sidewinder. I don't know why. I think it is the best ship in the game. But basically that's us. We push the boundaries of what can be possibly done in the game.
Before you break it.
Before we break it.
Push the boundaries of what can go wrong.
In a Sidewinder.
And our motto is what could possibly go wrong. Because nothing ever goes wrong.
Love it. Okay. Thanks for that, guys. I'm going to open it up to the floor, and if there's no questions from the floor, I know for a fact I've got quite a number of questions written down here. So, quick show of hands. Anybody got a question they want to? There we go. So, when it comes to you, just name, your commander name, whatever you like, and your question for the panel, please.
Hi there, I'm Commander Jamesy, and this is to Yamiks. How did you manage not to swear then?
Professional courtesy, let's just say so. I'm trying hard right now.
You should have heard him on the way here.
Yeah, sorry about
You heard nothing.
Yeah, in fairness, we have got a delay on the stream, so if you want to, we can easily bleep you out on the stream. So by all means, talk freely amongst friends. Any other questions that we've got coming from the floor? Okay, there we go. Remember, commander name and your question. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, most people probably know my band by now with the show. Hi, Commander Starion. Also, I would say startup streamer, just hit affiliate. What drew you guys to streaming in the first place? And what has been your most difficult challenges to date?
Is that to anybody in particular, or just for everybody?
Throw it open to the whole panel. Whoever wants to answer it, and then the next person can do it on the panel.
Okay, what drew me to streaming? I think it was just doing events. I did a live stream where I wanted to prove that flying in open wasn't as bad as everybody thought it was. So I did an Iron
I'm guessing
Man
you
stream.
failed.
I died a lot, yeah. But, so trying to get out the Sidewinder was actually the biggest, most repetitive thing that I did. 'Cause every time I died, I had to wipe my save, which was really annoying. Yeah, but yeah, that got me into streaming. I did, I think, 2 weeks of that, like an hour a night, and it was good. I enjoyed it. Got good response from the community, and as always, the community just went wonderful anyway. So that's what got me in.
For me, it was the broadcast. I got on board when we did a mountain climb event on Mount Everest, which was back then like the highest possible mountain that you can climb. And I won that one, and somehow that evolved into me becoming a co-host of the broadcast. A bro host, I guess. And so it was also the events drawing me in, because we continued to do many events with the community in Elite Dangerous. Later on, we also diversified into other games, but we always return to Elite Dangerous because it's the staple, and that's what people most enjoy about the stream. What was the other part of the question? What drew us into?
What are your challenges that you face as a streamer, either starting up or continuing through? What's your main challenges?
I think staying in contact with the community, because after all, you're doing that show for your viewers, and trying to gauge what they enjoy and interacting with them, keeping the content interesting is difficult, because sometimes it's dangerous to become repetitive what you do. So yeah, you have to invent yourself over and over again. But on the other hand, the community itself helps you with that, because if you do interact, they will have suggestions for you. They will join you in weird stuff, fun stuff, and that's always the fun part about it. Just having a great time together.
Okay, anybody else on the panel picking that up?
Well, I don't know. I come from the video making perspective, I suppose. So at this point, it was basically me just not wanting to make a Q&A video on every, whatever 1,000 milestone, whatnot else. So basically, it was laziness mostly. It was interaction with the community in general. So basically, I don't have that starting point that everyone else has, as I just turn on the camera and I go. I had my already established audience and whatnot else. So. But no, challenges, generally speaking, it's making sure that your stream is actually viewable and it has quality. Being able to talk constantly, or at least provide information that is interesting to listen to, rather than just droning on and in a single monotone voice that is very interesting to listen to constantly as you do things in Elite Dangerous, because it's very interesting to listen to, right? So there you go.
Nice.
I started streaming because it was Ed Lewis's fault, basically. Is that he? Do you remember Ed Lewis?
Yeah.
I think he works for. I don't know.
Fallout 76.
But I used to watch his lunchtime streams.
His biscuit streams.
Yeah, and I sort of had the idea watching his streams that one day he should just turn up and be a puppet. Just do the whole stream as a puppet, ignore any sort of comments in chat about him being a puppet, and then the next stream go back to being Ed again and just never talk about it again. Just have this one stream where he was a puppet, and he wouldn't go for it, and I kept badgering him, and eventually I thought, actually, the idea of being a puppet and doing a stream appealed to me, obviously, and maybe it should be me that did it. So that's where I started. Yeah.
Excellent. Nats, your guts?
I think not long after the game was in beta, I was starting to play the game, struggling to play it a bit, and then I'd never heard of Twitch, unbelievably. So I came across a certain BBC News reporter and a guy who we all know who, well, it has to be mentioned, I wonder if he's watching, runs out of fuel sometimes. And he did this fantastic video on the docking computer, and in a sort of Yorkshire-ish, Lancashire-ish accent. And it sort of got me more hooked into the idea of, I can give something back to this community. And I discovered that there was this wonderful community just behind the game, that it wasn't just a sort of a game like any other. And I think I was in one stream one day, and they said, who's a streamer here? And I said, well, I haven't started, but I'm going to stream. And the rest, as I say, is history. I started streaming, getting more involved with the community, and haven't really looked back since. As to what's the most challenging thing to do, I think, touching on what the other guys have said, is keeping the content fresh. And sometimes, a lot of the time, when Elite was growing, I would try and theme each stream to have something different. Like today, we're going to do combat in the most ludicrous ship, like a Type 6 or something like that, or Type 10. Well, we were going to do something crazy that the ship was never designed for, and that was streams that we did several years ago. And I think there was an awful lot of work maybe behind the scenes that people don't realise that streamers put into these streams. There's a lot of planning goes into it, and that is sort of the challenge. And sometimes you say, I'm really sorry, I'm a bit late starting stream. It's because you've rushed in from work and you've tried to get that last bit going for the stream. But it's given back tenfold by the people who come along to watch and interact, and that's the rewarding part of it.
That's great to hear, and we'll touch on actually in terms of as you say, the whole how much time you guys invest into this. But just to pick up on the point that you mentioned there in terms of the challenges of keeping the quality high, how do you do that, especially when you've got challenges such as you're based around a game? So there's 2 points. You're based around a game where sometimes we go in peaks and troughs in terms of development cycles, in terms of news. Certainly on the radio show, we look at it sometimes and go, well, this is going to be a slow news show, so what else are we going to do? How do you guys keep the quality going? Obviously, Nat's talked about doing your panning and stuff. How do you look at it and think, well, there's not a lot happened in game in the last two weeks or so. What am I going to do on this stream to keep people entertained?
Well, I think the key word is trying to keep the quality up, because on the one hand, you have the technical difficulties, which always interfere. Like sometimes the internet is flaky, something doesn't get picked up suddenly. There's always something going on. And if you do events, especially with players, do not underestimate how long before you have to start getting people into the instance, trying to get everyone in there, trying to get people where they need to be. That takes a long time, and you have to take that into account.
Well, that's one of the reasons why when I did the Type 9 race, I knew that instancing would be a problem, and I knew that people wanted to play in different game modes, and as long as it was on a PC, it would be okay. So I wrote a bunch of software to track the score of a Type 9
There's some effort right there.
as it's flying over a planet. The lower, the better, the more score you get. But it didn't actually matter what group you were in or whether you were in the same instance, because it wasn't all about like the ramming each other into canyon walls, although there was some of that, which was fun. But yeah, in terms of amount of effort, I had to work quite hard with my friend who also plays Jane in my show, to make some client software and some service software so that we'd have some like overview of where everybody is who's racing. So there's a lot of effort that streamers do actually put in a lot of times, keeping it fresh, coming up with new ideas and things to do. Because what we're doing today, we're going to be flying around and doing Guardian grind. Oh, well, can we make that interesting somehow? How can we make that interesting? You can't really with Guardian grind, but with everything else,
you can always crush and burn.
Yeah, you
can explode and murder something for the people. So that's what got everyone's blood pumping, I suppose. So murder and mayhem, folks.
Oh God, absolutely, yeah. I mean, if we ever get bored in Elite, there's so many things to do in Slough Orbital. You can block the docking port and see how many belugas you can get waiting outside, and see how many actual landing pads you can get to light up. So far, we've had nearly all but I think one landing pad lit up. We can also see how many belugas we can shoot and see if we can fill the instance up with all the goodies that fall out of the belugas. And also, there's any number of small sort of areas you can sort of see where you can fit a ship. So we have a game called Will Fit. And we take, you can choose any ship you want really, but generally a sidewinder is best because it's small, and you just see where, you find something really narrow, really small, and will the ship fit through it? And have amusement as you try and get through, especially amusing when you're actually inside the station and you've got the countdown timer. Like, trespass. It's like, I'm stuck. It's like, I can't move back, can't move forward, can't move back. 3 seconds to, oh no. Oh, they can't shoot me because there's something on top. It's a sandbox. You make your own fun. The Guardian sites, well, why drive to things in the Guardian sites? Just use the natural ramps that are there and do acrobatics to entertain you people in between the things that you collect. People love it when your buggy can go up into the air.
You've seen me drive, right?
I don't drive. I fly an SRV. SRVs.
As you should.
Do not drive an SRV. Fly it. That's what they were meant to do. That's why they have thrusters on them.
Right. Any other questions from the audience here? Oh, here we go. Right. Remember, commander name and your question.
Hi guys, Commander Rusty Dog here, fellow streamer. Just wondering, in the next few years, apart from atmospheric landings and the other one, space like, oh yeah, what feature would you like to see being developed in the game?
Bigger instances, more robust networking.
But that's an improvement, not a feature.
Well, I'll take anything right now.
I assume the question is about something new.
Okay.
I would have mentioned balance myself, but if it's something new, then you got to start to scratch your head and start to think.
I don't know, I'd like to see some sort of station storage, so you can put things...
commodities.
Anything, Or maybe turning flight assist off in Super Cruise so that you can boost and slingshots and things like that. I'd like to see stuff like that.
For me, it's really about, because I'm an explorer at heart, so when I go out there, I like to see new stuff. So it's always fun if you find or stumble upon like a amazing planetary system with cool constellations. But I think the game has so much more potential in that regard. So I would love to see these locked sectors that we've had for so long now to finally be filled with something interesting for us to discover, or new races, for example, which also lore-wise are there in Elite, but we haven't seen them in game yet, apart from the Guardians and Thargoids that we've kind of interacted with, but not really yet. So there's a lot more potential in that regard, and I would love to see that fleshed out more.
We've shot them. That's what we did. We shot at them.
That's on you.
No, it's
Racing. Actually, yeah. That sounds like a pretty decent idea. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
I mean, imagine, if you will, you've got the scenarios that are sort of in the game now. Imagine feeling you're in a ship, you've got a mission, you fly down to the surface of a planet through hails of fire, battle your way down, land your ship, climb out of your ship, and then you're on foot and you have to continue the mission on foot, but battle your way into an enemy installation to either collect or deliver some object for an objective. That's the kind of thing I'd sort of look forward into that. Imagine a Thargoid attacking a station direct, live in real time, where you can fend it off, rescuing passengers while under fire from an alien species. That's the kind of thing that I would look forward to in the future of the game.
There's a sort of what I call the Star Wars scenario, which is where you would have a wing of, say, two ships in space attacking an installation, whilst you've got two other players in an SRVs. On the planet's surface, trying to take down something that would affect the space battle, and I kind of like that kind of joined up, simultaneous thing, but in two different places, as it were. I kind of like that kind of stuff.
That sounds really cool. Yeah.
There's another thing. There's a small little thing which I'd like, which is cross-platform communication. I'd like all the families to be able to talk to one another through the game. I can understand there's all sorts of different reasons and technical problems with getting cross-platform.
PlayStation, Xbox.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel communication should be attainable.
Can you not do that through TeamSpeak and things?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's so many things.
It'd just be nice to have that in game.
True.
There's so many things that we already do through third-party software, be it Discord, TeamSpeak, or any other website that we use to enhance the game for us. You can do that, but it would be more immersive if you were to be able to do that in-game. And I have to add to my earlier statement, now that Zach is here, I would love, as a rock rat, to have new SRVs in the game. I mean, the one that we have is nice and you can do some awesome stuff with it, but to have some purpose-built SRVs like a tank or like a cargo SRV or one that's for racing where you can jump further, fly, go fast, whatever, I would love that so much.
I've just realised I've left my immersion on.
I'm going to throw it open to the audience again in just a second, but just thinking about your Star Wars scenario, didn't EVE Online have a first-person sort of console thing, Dust 514? Yeah. Is that still going? Does anybody know in the room if it was a success or it wasn't?
It's still available on the PlayStation 4, and they did it so that it could be effectively somewhere on the ground. So first of all, it's still available on PlayStation 4, Dust 514. And they did it in such a way that if you were on foot battling like battlefield style against like the opposition forces, you could then basically send a message in-game to your buddy that's actually playing EVE Online in orbit and say, right, I need an orbital strike there.
That's amazing.
And they would actually bombard the enemy forces from orbit in EVE into Dust 514.
Which I agree, it sounds like a great idea, but if nobody's playing it anymore, the challenge would be to do that in Elite and make it maintainable, do something that makes people actually continue want to play it. Questions from the floor, shenanigans. Go on.
Be kind to them.
Oh, please don't.
I'm very kind. Commander Shan here. With the slow dribble of content for Elite Dangerous due out, by 2020.
You mean the maintenance phase?
I'm being polite.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
Oh, come on!
I'm just asking, how are they preparing to maintain interest in their streams when the amount of new content is
diversifying? That's really it. Like, there's only so much you can do in one game over and over again. Yes, you can do community events, and they're always fun. You can put different twists on them, but if one game doesn't sustain you, you don't have any more ideas that you want to do in there, nothing that the viewers suggest or want you to do, then try out something else and come back to the game when it's interesting again. That's really it.
There's the good old saying of if you beat the brick wall with your head long enough, it may break down, So that's pretty much the case for at least most of the more reluctant players for other games. we stay there because that brick wall really tastes really well.
Yeah, I mean, that just to dive deeper in that, do you not get any pushback from the community that turn up at the allotted hour expecting to see Elite Dangerous and suddenly you're streaming Grand Theft Auto 5? Yes. And how do you deal with that sort of instance with your community?
Well, it depends. If you rely on your streams as an income source, then that's a hard point, because from my experience in the broadcast, if we stream something else than Elite Dangerous, the viewer numbers are lower. That's just how it is. But don't do a stream that's not fun for you. Like, if you don't enjoy what you're doing on the stream, the viewers are going to see that. Like, the stream is not going to be as fun either. So there's no point in like playing the game for the game's sake, just because you have to, because the viewer numbers are higher. That's not good. Yeah.
Okay, and what about, because obviously it's a very much topical at the moment, sort of mental health, well-being and stuff like that. If you've become to rely on the games for that revenue, how do you make it so that it is entertaining for you and you don't get burnout and feel obligated to do the stream as opposed to wanting to do the stream? What are some of the tips for people that are starting out that you could suggest?
Set a plan for yourself, really. That's about it. Just decide you need to do this one grand thing and sort of set a small inkling plans over the whatever span of time you're playing things, multiple streams and all that stuff. For example, let's say you just want to make a really silly build for, I don't know, Type 7 or something like that. And just make it. It'll take you a couple of streams just to grind it out. So enjoy that time.
Excellent. So you're suggesting get a 10-year plan then?
No, it's more like indefinite plan with lots and lots of budget and half-baked product. Throwing rocks, totally nuts. No.
I think in some cases as well, though, like there've been times when I've not wanted to stream, but I did anyway, and then I was really glad that I did, because the community just like all the problems and the worries from the day job, all that stuff just goes away, and then you're with your friends, and then suddenly you're playing a video game together, and you get a whole bunch of people turning up as well, and you have fun, and suddenly it's like you've forgotten all about that stuff. But when it's like, I must do this because it's my income stream, because it's this, and I'm hitting a roadblock, I haven't got an answer for that, but apart from you need to take care of yourself. Take a step back, take a day off, go do something else, play a different game, go for a walk, do something else, but then come back to where your friends are, because you don't always know when you're going to feel bad, but you know when your friends are going to cheer you up.
And I'm guessing, throw it open to for another question in just a second, but how you've spoken about the community that you've got on your streams. I dare say if you were just to put a message up saying, look, not feeling it today, I'm going to take a bit of time for myself, I'll see you next week, I dare say there's probably overwhelming support for that, is there?
No, they try and kill me.
I mean, absolutely, you do. If you say can't stream one particular night, you post on your Discord or you post on Twitter, and usually you'll get sort of messages of support. But I think for people sort of maybe just starting out, or whether it is to do with whether you burn out in a particular game, try and have. I mean, I sometimes don't stick to a schedule, but stick to a schedule so that you know when you've got your downtime, you know when you're going to stream. And as much as obviously a lot of us are based in the Elite Dangerous community, you do get variety streamers out there, and they do sometimes stream other games. They might be the space games. I've probably, as people know, recently branched out into a lot of World of Warships, so I sometimes stream that. And the main thing is you've got to be in the right. When you're streaming, the people who watch will pick your mood up if you're a little bit low anyway.
Yeah.
But before that, if you're actually streaming a game and you're really ready to do it, you've done your planning for it, and you know what you're going to do on that stream, that's something when you're ready for the stream. But if you kind of sort of saying, well, I'm struggling for content, I was just going back to the content in Elite.
Yeah.
For me, what I've switched to in Elite is I'm exploring, because there's billions of procedure-generated Midland Hollows out there waiting to be discovered, and I'm trying to find the next one. So that's my challenge now. So I've gone off sort of exploring into the deep, and I'm hoping. I've already found 2 worlds that orbited 300 kilometers apart, and people are going, "Oh my God, how close are they?" And we landed on one, and the other one was like, it looked like it was looming overhead. And it's finding little things like that. So although there's not new content in the sense of, "Ooh, here's a shiny new object," whatever that is, there is still content in there depending on how you do it, but don't be afraid, to introduce your community to, heaven forbid, the odd other game that's maybe a similar genre, because after all, your community is not just about the game, but it's about you and your community as a broadcaster, and that relationship you have with your audience. And, they'll generally, like you say, the broadcasters, you'll get lower viewer figures when people come to watch different games, but that doesn't mean you can't talk about Elite.
Yeah.
And I might play a different game, but we'll still talk about Elite. Because I don't mind what, people can talk about what they feel comfortable with and what they want to, because it's that's how I do streams.
No, good point. Questions from the room? Ooh, we'll go do that and I'll come back to you. Right. Exercise, I don't like exercise.
Whee! All right, man's name and your question.
Hi, it's Commander Max Luna, and I was wondering if you have any tips for starting streamers, and what do you use to stream?
Tips for new streamers, and what do you use to stream? And talking about sort of software and stuff that you use, or software you use to stream.
Does anyone here actually doesn't use OBS? No? So OBS it is. Simple as that.
Which flavour of OBS though?
Huh?
OBS Studio or OBS Classic?
I used to use it.
Or Streamlabs OBS?
Well, I have Streamlabs. Oh wait, I'm using Studio. So, yes.
Yeah, I use Studio, but I also have the Streamlabs OBS as well, but that's only set up for when I need to do the broadcast from time to time. So I don't need to store those credentials anywhere. It's like, right, that's the broadcast one. Here's my one. Yeah,
it's that filthy one over
there.
I would say as well, the first rule is to turn up. Absolutely.
Yes.
Which we do and don't schedule on this panel, but I think if you're starting out, it's more important to have a schedule. And also, I think prepare for a couple of months of no one watching, literally no one. Just mentally prepare yourself for that. For saying, right, I'm going to do this for 2 months, and no one is going to watch. There's going to be no one in chat, and I'm just going to be talking to myself for hours, and that's fine.
But
so I'm committed to that. That's what I'm going to do.
It's not a sign of madness.
And
develop some mental
issues. That probably won't happen, but it might. And as long as you're prepared for that, I think you'll get something. Yeah.
What about a tip for the guys starting out? Yeah, I'm over here now. In terms of getting those numbers up, how do you stream and do you get the word out there?
Right. So So coming from me, I guess that wouldn't be the best advice and whatnot else in some ways, I suppose. Again, as I said, coming from video making, background, I have my audience there. But the thing is, when you start out with either video or streams and whatnot else, the thing is, when you look at the biggest games you play, let's say Dota, League of Legends, whatnot else, the biggest products out there, the problem is that you will be drawn out by other better performers. So the thing is, if you want to grow fast, funny thing is, you actually have to start with smaller games, smaller communities, and so on and so forth. And you'll grow it'll be easier for you to sort of get noticed from there, because when you're competing in, let's say, a WoW, my friend is, just starting out and he's doing WoW streams, and I'm like, you're not gonna grow with that. You're not exactly the most charismatic person out there, so... Again, the thing is, not throwing shade at anyone, the point is, you have to be extremely lucky and extremely charismatic just to, explode like, let's say, Ninja, right? And whatnot else, those biggest guys out there. So, again, start with a small game. Again, Elite Dangerous, for example, for me, wasn't the first game I tried. It was Plantside 2, the good old 4-year dead horse. So, I didn't start that either. But, the smaller the community, the bigger chances is for you to grow, at least relatively, and then you can go from there. That'll be my personal opinion, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of the other important things is networking. So obviously I grew with the Elite Dangerous community, but more recently, I'll use another example, because obviously I wanted to move towards being more of a variety streamer. Now, when you try and be a variety streamer, the stream is more about yourself and your community as a person, and it is harder to do because exactly what Yamiks touched on, you've got to have that charisma, and there's a lot of people out there who have 1,000,000 times more charisma than I have, and people are going to tend to gravitate towards them. So first of all, get out there, share on social media, tweet when you go live.
You're never too big to self-promote.
Exactly. Getting other people's discourse. But what I tended to do was I went into other people's streams and said, hi. I didn't say, hi, I'm a streamer. You don't do that. I just says, hi. And then you get to know people. You go on the Discord. They find out you stream. You start promoting each other. And then I ended up getting to know some of the biggest. So I know some of the bigger streamers in World of Warships now just by talking to them. I didn't go in and say, I'm a streamer. I just went, hi, your stream's really cool, yada, yada. And you network with them. And networking is one of the most important things you'll do in growing a stream. And I went from like 5 to 10 viewers on World of Warships to 50 viewers every Sunday on World of Warships in 3 months. Now now the big World of Warships streamers get 500-600. Flambas, Flamu, they're over 1,000. So I don't think I'll ever get to that level because I don't have the skill they have in the game. But I tend to use the fact that I'm actually not as good as a game as a strength. So turn your weaknesses into your strengths. I'm not as good as them. So I actually make a thing of like, oh no, I've got my ship stuck on the side of the map. Typical me. Like there's a streamer called Natswright. If you watch them, they are always crashing into things. And they make a point of crashing into things. So you've got to play to your strengths. Because if you're not necessarily, say, great at the game, because people watch a streamer because they're charismatic or because they're really good at the game they play, or there's something about them. So you have to work out what is your magic mix of skills, if you like, and focus on that. And streamers, if you're streaming to 100 or 1,000 people when you start, and just give a good commentary of what you're doing and play something you enjoy. And as Yamiks says again, I couldn't reiterate it more importantly, he's dead right. Pick your games, something you like, but not only that, something that's relatively small, like Elite Dangerous, World of Warships, World of Tanks, stuff like that, because there are about 2,000, 3,000 people watching them at a given time. You might have a chance of getting noticed. Once you're on that top 2 rows on Twitch, people will start to come in and have a look.
Yeah.
Once you're on the top row, you're sorted. And the numbers just grow.
And especially on Twitch, collaborate. Just talk to the other streamers, jump into their stream, say hi, and try to catch them after the stream, for example. Just talk to them that you try to stream as well, that if you're serious about it. Because on Twitch you have that nice thing called raids.
Yeah.
And
Raids are great.
that is an awesome thing for streamers because there's no competition really between streamers. It's more about collaboration. So they might raid you at some point, and that will get you started. Because if you have a little bit of charisma and there's some uniqueness to your stream or some quality to your stream, some people will stick around. Some people will subscribe to you just because the other streamer told them to do. That's literally it.
Yeah.
And that gives you that little starting bump to then take the advantage of these other things, like appearing in the top row somewhere on Twitch. And from there you can build up, and that'll get you to your goals relatively quickly, I guess.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Another question from the audience. I'm just conscious of time. We've got about another 15 minutes, so we'll start wrapping it up soon. But questions from the audience?
Hello there, Commander Asticon.
Hey!
Serious question, though. How do you guys deal with community moderation?
Good topic.
Don't. I have a nuke.
Ban everyone.
I try and whittle my audience to as low a figure as possible. It's less trouble that way. Yeah.
So massive ban hammer. What else is?
No, you really need some nice qualified people, like some friends on your Discord, or some people who don't stream themselves but who are regulars, who are always there. Either they suggested themselves, or you asked them kindly if they were to moderate for you, because it can be very tough to do that on your own. You're occupied with playing the game, engaging with chat as itself, and then also catching the ones who try to disrupt it. That's a tall order. So you need some help there, I think.
Get in curtains to do it.
Yeah. I've had a couple of people come on my stream, so that the first question that they ask are you playing an open? And I'm like, no, sorry, mate. And it'll be like it'll be like our friend Mr. Potter, or it'll be
you say
with Tony Curtis. Yeah, he could be him. But then I find that if you're nice to them, polite to them, like don't go, what are you doing about me? Then they'll either go away or they'll just sit back and just chill. And
that's literally what happened on Friday with Tony Curtis. I think first time visiting my stream, and I was exploring far, and I was on my way to Colonia, and I was like, is this happening? Is this going to happen? I don't think it's going to happen, and it didn't happen. It was lovely.
I mean, I wouldn't be against one of them coming in and joining the stream. If there was some shenanigans to be had, why not?
I think sometimes you have to almost, if it's appropriate, engage. But obviously, I've got some fantastic mods in my channel that will swing the barn hammer at just the right time. But I think I did a Distant Worlds 2 stream, and it was to sort of send a little bit of a message to how to build a slightly stronger exploration ship. Controversial. That doesn't have paper-thin shields, that when a pebble jumps up off the ground of the land, shields off, your large shields, oh no, that rock's just hit the shields offline. So, and I trolled them in open. Now, I did get blown up once by Harry Potter because I made a mistake. But generally speaking, there was 3 of them chasing my exploration Phantom, which only had 1,000 megajoule shields. And I was just ringing rings around them. And there was more and more of them coming to watch the stream because I was live doing this. And I evaded. There was 6 interdictions, and I only got blown up once because I got a bit too
blasé.
A bit too blasé, a bit too overconfident. The rest of them, I just sort of trolled a bit and then ran away. And it was kind of like the Millennium Falcon, where it's going, this ship knows something. They're listing lazily to the left. It kind of was like that because I engineered the ship to be very fast.
Yeah.
It had over 70% resistances on the shields. And it still had a 50 light year jump range. And the idea was that you can build a ship that can escape a gank. And it escaped, it killed 1 out of 7 attempts on it. It escaped all of them, but 1. And I think, the salt on the other side of the camera must have been immense. Except for once, it wasn't on stream because I was just laughing my head off.
Nice. Okay, another question.
Probably to finish, Commander Hired Gun. It's obvious you invest a lot of time in this. How do you balance that with real life, families, jobs?
What is this real life of which you speak?
Well, I was going to actually ask whether any of you had a proper job, and I thought, well, that's not the right thing to say. Then I thought real job, and I thought, no, that's the wrong thing to say again. But
no, I manage a career as well as doing streaming and video making and a marriage. It's tall order sometimes.
Well, it's the other benefit of having a schedule as well. Is that means that your other half can actually have some structure as well.
And how do the other halves or partners or friends perceive it? Do they understand what the heck it is that you're doing, staring at the internet and talking to them, or is it just, oh my God, you're going off to play that game again?
Yeah, my wife would rather us playing golf.
Back in the day, we didn't sit at the PC watching someone else play.
It's not real, I'm real.
Yes.
My boyfriend didn't understand about it until he read a piece in the New Yorker about how much money people were making, and then he understood what it was.
all of a sudden.
He hasn't understood another part of that. But yeah, it's fine.
I'm not sure my friends fully understand it as well. I mean, it's like you say, schedule helps, and when you get in from work that you've got time to get ready for your stream. But one of my friends keeps telling me, I'll watch you, but I want you to get your headphones and just clang them on your head like that. Like, why do you want me to do that? Just because it's funny? So to this day, I don't know why he wants me to just do this with headphones. Just lift them off and just let go. So I'll watch the stream. I'll do it one time. You can tell me if it's amusing or not.
I can only add that yes, while you do have to do some preparation for streams, it's still a lot less time consuming than doing videos like you do as well on the side. So it is possible. I mean, I don't personally have the problem of having to organize the life of somebody else along that, but you can squeeze a stream in there, especially on the weekend. Like, broadcast isn't much of a hassle for me. We just, jump in there. That's why it's usually very unprepared as well. But doing videos alongside, that's a lot more taxing on time that you have to put in there.
Well, my ones take about 3 months to make sometimes. That's
Okay, we've probably got time for about another 2 questions. Have we got any more from the room? There we go. Oh, we must be running out. I'll come back to you, Stario. Right. Go on then.
Okay, for the more introverted amongst the panel, so not Yamiks. Sorry, mate.
Awfully presumptuous of you now.
It's all a facade.
But okay.
I've seen YouTube videos, man. You can just like talk the hind legs off Donkey Man.
And then he'd beat it.
Yeah. With his
Just beat it!
Yeah, so how do the more introverted of you, like myself, feel about talking to a stream that isn't there? Like when your viewer figure is 0. One of the biggest issues I've got is, like, I'm playing late, I've got the stream running, viewer count 0, well 1, but that's only because my girlfriend's PC is watching. And there's no one sat at that PC either. It's just like, yeah, I've got a viewer, you know.
You just...
but yeah, it's like, I just don't find I can, it's like, I'm talking to no one.
But you don't know that you are, because the count of viewers on Twitch is lagged. So you could actually have like 3 or 4 people in there, and it wouldn't show you. It still shows 0 until you, and I've seen this because someone will post a message and it'll go, "Oh, hi there, that was really funny." And like, it still says 0. So you just got to treat it as if there's like 10 people in the room. Just be yourself. Talk about what you're doing. There'll be if you're enjoying yourself, if you're having a good time, they will have a good time.
Just don't look at the view count at first place.
Ignore the view count. You could have 50, 100 people. Just ignore it. Because whoever's watching you, they're there for you. So they will be there eventually. Just pretend they're there.
I think your base level as well, or I think for a lot of people, is that all you're doing is externalizing your internal monologue of playing the game. And you make that your sort of your safe space, if you like, your safe place to your foundation. When you get chatters in, that's when you build up from that. So that's when you
talk
have the
to
conversation.
Chat. That's the kind of the difficulty I've got is like externalizing the internal monologue, shall we say? Because I was sort of like, I'll mumble, proceed. But yeah, when I'm watching other people's streams, Fozzer will testify to this from the Lay Radio broadcast. I will heckle from the sidelines like no one's business.
Get peers to join you on the stream. Like I've never streamed on my own. I couldn't tell you how it is because on the broadcast we always have at least someone else on there that you can really bounce yourself off to.
Have a partner and talk to them while you're playing. Because then...
Have a split personality. That'll probably sell...
You can talk to yourself.
I mean, whatever helps, yeah, really.
So I'm looking at you. I was expecting you to jump in at that point.
I was about, and everyone stopped.
It wasn't you I was looking at. With a split personality, I thought maybe we could come over to Jeff. That's all.
There's a split personality at the end of the table. Go on.
Wait, I'll take this one. No, it does help because I think one of the things that a lot of people.
No.
A lot of people have a stream persona, and it is much easier, I think, for me, or possibly easier for me to manage that. It's in my left hand. That split personality, and it is useful, and he's smarter than me and he's dumber than me, and which I still haven't quite figured out. But yeah, it's just really useful, I think, to have basically a box that you can put the stream guy in.
To this day, nobody knows how he plays the game with one hand.
I'm blown away.
Voice attack.
It's magic.
So I mean, it is quite difficult. I mean, obviously when you start out, I mean, still, if I start some streams, I'll only be on I'm quite a small streamer, so I can quite easily only have 10, 15 viewers to start with. But what you've also got to remember is, A, turn the viewer counter off, or just don't look at it and pretend it's not there, which is less distraction. I also have one viewer because it's a space loach. It's the bot in the channel, so I can talk to that. But yeah, like others have said, just do your talk your inner monologue, talk about what you're doing in the game, and people will come in. The viewer count in Twitch actually is highly inaccurate under about 20 views because it'll go from 5 to like 15. And like you say, you don't know when somebody's just popped in a thought, because what they'll do, some people go, and I'll do this as well, I'm going through a new game, I'll just go, I'll have a look at that one, and I'll watch for 5 minutes, and if they're interesting, I'll go follow, and I'll come back later. And if you're just sitting there doing nothing, somebody's going to come at the stream and go, what are you doing to engage me? And you can make a joke of it. If anybody is watching, this is what I normally get up to in Elite. It's not normally allowed. You wouldn't want to see it, But just do crazy things like that, where it gets people thinking, hey, what's this person about, and they'll be intrigued to find out more. And don't try not to talk in that sort of don't drone.
Yeah. Just one thing that you guys haven't touched on, and it's the way that I sort of ingest Twitch a lot of the time because of my working hours, is that if I know there are decent streamers out there that I haven't caught, and I haven't caught them live, I will go to their channel and watch the videos of previous episodes. So even though I'm not catching you live, I'd still expect you guys to put in a performance for me for when I watch your video after the event. What are your viewer numbers and stuff like that for after the event? You were talking about doing it live, but how do you manage your past portfolio, as it were?
That's how we do. That's why we do the broadcast on YouTube to this day, because there we have the whole history of every broadcast that we have done in the past right there on YouTube for you to watch. So there's no problem. Like, I don't know, are they persistent on Twitch now? I think for a long time they were like available for a day or
make a highlight clip.
Only partners. So as a small stream, that's going to be a challenge for you. So maybe choose a different stream platform than Twitch, at least to get started. Maybe.
You can Mixer.
Facebook bombing.
Mixer is a viable option these days. Like, just look what's out there. Just look what fits you best.
You can export to YouTube, but obviously then it's kind of. That might be more work.
Oh,
than just
it
doing
takes
it on
so
YouTube.
much time to export.
I've never had that working. Never.
Then again, I don't know how high the view count is after the fact. Like, our live viewers are somewhere in between 50 to 150 people usually on the broadcast. The numbers on the videos later on are certainly higher, like 1,000 maybe ish. So I know many people that don't have time to watch when the stream is live. And they say, I really enjoy watching the broadcast on a Sunday when I have like my time off. I have time to on the afternoon, in the evening, just watch the broadcast after the fact. So it is viable. You should consider that option. That maybe people don't always have time to watch you live, and make it available for them as well.
Yeah,
great shout. Okay, well, we're going to have to pull it to a close, guys, because we want half an hour to sort of reset the room ready for Frontier. But guys, a massive round of applause for the panel and giving up their time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't stab me.
So very much, thank you very much, Ascorbius, thank you very much, Greytest, thank you very much, Yamiks, thank you very much, Jack, and thank you very much, Nats. Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.